We are now at the oh 04 mark. Let's go ahead and get started. Thanks for joining this session, NiRey. I really appreciate it. And I'm going to start off with a little bit of an introduction, and then I'll give you the time to do your own proper introduction. This won't do it justice. Really happy to have NiRey here. NiRey is the Global Director of Creative Excellence at Momentum Worldwide. I think she will go into explaining who the agency is and what they do. She has helped win over 250 awards and 100,000 shortlists across many different award shows. Was previously at McCann and won Club for Creativity, and produced the Young Ones Student Awards. So a lot of experience here, especially within awards categories for marketing campaigns. And so I think it's going to be really interesting to learn about awards, how to win awards, especially as a junior, and also what that means for agencies as a whole and why that's important for them. So um, just a quick, such thing of who I am. I'm the COO of Outbound Initiative. We're an internship program for many different people, marketing, marketers, producers, advertisers, and we've placed over 1,000 interns through our program. Hey, Melissa, good to see you. Um, Cool. Just a quick little breakdown of how the session will go. We'll talk about Naire's career journey. We'll get into Outbound Initiative and who we are, just for about 10 minutes in the middle of it, and then we'll leave an open Q&A for us. So, as questions are popping up, most of this session is built so that you can ask your questions, whatever it is. It's about career, it's about Naire's career, it's about our program. It's about advice as you're, starting off. Please put anything that you can think of in the chat, and we'll try to get to it all. Okay. Well, without further ado, let me just stop sharing screen here. And Nairi, I'd love if you could give everybody a little bit of introduction of who you are.
Of course. Thank you for having me, Ben. I really appreciate it, and I'm so excited to talk to all of you. I am NiRey Reynolds. I lead creative excellence at Momentum Worldwide, and everyone always asks, what is creative excellence? And it is a melting pot of how you are recognized. So part of my job is to take our work, the campaigns we make. Let's say we make 100 campaigns a year, right? I can take 10 of them into the award circuit. They're probably amazing, rooted in really good insights and human truth. Our strategists come up with that. Really amazing creative, our whole creative department and teams. And I'm sure a lot of you are art directors or copywriters or identifying, figuring out who you are, producers, and then we make it. We make a 2-minute film and we submit that to award shows. And there are over 100 shows a year. This is an entire industry. Just like you have our entertainment awards, like everyone knows about Golden Globes, Oscars, Grammys, we have shows that are just as big as that, which is pretty amazing. And I also place people on juries. So I've been on 11 award show juries myself, and counting. And then I take our executive team and place them with different shows and different organizations, whether that's to be mentors, leaders, juries. They travel all over the world. I have a juror going to DR in March, which is going to be really exciting for like 10 days, and they judge on the beach, and that's for the one show. I have two people going to Lisbon, in Portugal, which will be amazing, and they're going to judge the Clio Awards, and the list goes on.
Cool, amazing. Well, thank you for the introduction. I would love to hear a little bit more about um, what is Momentum as an agency, and then how did you find this role? It's a very unique role, right? It's not a typical role within an agency. So tell me about how you found that role, and first of all, like, what is the agency? What do they do? Yeah.
Yes. Okay, so Momentum is the best experiential agency in the business. So we only do experiences. And please check out our website. We have an amazing reel as well that highlights a lot of our clients. We have Coca-Cola, American Express, Sam's Club, Walmart, the list goes on, but those are the teams I talked to today. And we do activations at big events. So I know everyone here has probably been to a music festival or knows that when you go to like one of those big festivals and you walk around and the brands have tents and give out gear and they have experiences and VR and whatever you want to do. We come up with those things. We also activate at every sporting event. So we have a team setting up right now for Super Bowl. And they're really excited. And our teams go on location for like 2, 3 weeks at a time. You have to build, you have to activate the event, and then you have to take down. Which is pretty cool because then they get to be home for 2 or 3 weeks at a time. It's a pretty awesome agency setup. We also have every award show we activate at. We had just had American Express at the US Open at the end of the summer. So if you ever go to a lounge or have an American Express and can use a card to get in, we do those experiences.
That's amazing. That's such a cool side of marketing because, a
Yeah.
lot of marketing is like designing or creating ad campaigns or things, but this is actually interacting with people who are, the
Yeah.
customers and also creating those amazing experiences. So, what a unique like I know there's a lot of agencies that do it, but it's interesting to work on that side of marketing. And I think that
Yeah.
right now as we get more and more towards like AI type of driven stuff, campaigns, sometimes people in campaigns, are AI created. Like we're getting into a weird world right now. I think that need for marketing, experiential marketing and interacting with people is going to become even more of a premium, that brands are going
Yes.
to want. Yeah.
Actual humans
Yep, yep.
wielding.
Like let's
Yeah.
actually talk to each other, right? Like this is a weird place we're in as humanity, but it's interesting. That's for sure. I'd
Yeah.
love to know a little bit about your career journey. Like how did
Yes.
you end up in this role? Like what were the kind of give us the like major steps. Like
Okay, the
what were the
headlines.
big yeah. Yeah.
Okay, it actually started, I would say my journey started in undergrad. Like I know many of you are in undergrad, and I really, really suggest this. Sign up for clubs. Like, even if you don't know, every communications department has a club. I know a few of you said you were from Syracuse. I have to look at the chat. Newhouse School has some amazing chapters of clubs. If any of you put in your schools, I can let you know what to sign up for. But Ad Club and PRSSA. So, Advertising Club and Public Relations Club. So, I had signed up for both of those while I was in school, and I was on the competition teams. So, I was very aware that there was a larger world while I was still in school. Instead of thinking, okay, this is just my school, this is my bubble, and I'm just going to go to my workplace, my next bubble. I was aware that there was like a much bigger industry. And it was cool to see like different brands and stuff from that angle because there are no stakes at that point. You're just making up all your ideas, and the budget is unlimited, and there's no scope, and there's no client. Like, have fun with it at that point. So I really suggest signing up for those clubs. And then once you are in the real world or your career, my first job was at Public Relations Student Society of America, and I only knew about it because I was in the club. And I was an admin assistant, like I did like phones and like type stuff in the computer all day. But I got to go to events. And that was also a huge part of it, networking and making a creative community and knowing you don't even have to network with people to get something out of it. You're just connecting with people who are your peers. But people who are your peers now are going to be leaders at some point. They're going to be able to hire you, give you suggestions, tell you different groups to be in. So I really suggest just focusing on community and networking and showing up places. Because even if you just go to the, let's say anyone in New York, if you go to the Ad Club of New York Christmas party, the One Club for Creativity Christmas party, and I'm trying to think of another organization, and Ad Color Christmas party, all happened in New York probably the same week. If you go to that, you're going to meet at least three people at these different events who are going to be the start of your network. Add them on LinkedIn. You're going to be able to follow their journey, they're going to follow yours. So I just made connections. While I was at PRSSA, I went to grad school at City College in New York. And so I did my master's in branding and integrated communication. Again, I was in school, but I was building a network with everyone who did the program before, who was in the program, everything they set us up with. After that, I went to the One Club for Creativity and I led the education department there, which was so fun. And I met so many hundreds of students, worked with so many schools, and a part of the education department is, um, I'll answer your question one second, Bianca. Um, is the award shows. That is what the One Club is known for. They're like the Golden Globes equivalent to the ad industry. And I ran the student awards. So I began to get exposure again to how many different award shows there are and how many agencies enter awards and how much money they spend on awards. That was, it's shocking, honestly. And every agency is doing it. So I just found out about these niche positions as I worked with more people at One Club. That's a great resource. Please sign up for their newsletter, by the way. You also are exposed to different jobs because we run a creative job board. So you'll see so many unique career positions come through. And we have an amazing board as well that you meet at events like the Christmas party. So networking, again, and exposure to different kinds of roles and industries. Um, while I was at One Club, I built relationships with all the agencies that were entering the award shows. I then started to be aware of awards positions and going for them. And then I wound up at McCann, which was incredible because it was my first time agency side, but I knew the awards world like the back of my hand. So I was able to increase wins and shortlists there. And then McCann is in the same holding company as Momentum, my current agency. So I knew them and I knew their work and I knew the people there. And when they had awards position, I just went for it. So it was a blend of creative community and just constantly exposing myself to new things and being okay with being untraditional and not taking normal roles or feeling intimidated that I wasn't a traditional creative as well.
That's so cool. I just took a little like quote from you I'm putting in the chat because I think it's so important. You
Okay.
said people who are your peers now are going to be leaders at some point. It's so true. Like networking is not always about looking to people who are 10 years your senior, right? That's part of it, but so much of it sometimes is about like understanding that like you're going to ride a wave with a bunch of other people, right? And so the more people you know now, and even if they're a couple years your senior, they're going to keep moving their career up and be useful to you at some
Yes.
point, whether that's for a job or for a client or for like just other industry connections, they can be really supportive to you in some way. Um, how much of the time did you feel like you were out of your league in terms of knowledge, and how much of the time did you feel like, oh, I was just really comfortable because I was in this niche that I already knew?
You know what? That's such a good question. I would say for the first couple of years, like the first 3 or 4 years of my career, I was just constantly learning and being like, I don't know that yet, but I'll show up and I'll try. And people really admire that. Also, depending on your organization, like PRSSA and One Club were both nonprofits. So we had people wear many hats at nonprofits, especially and smaller companies. So, volunteering to help with other departments, volunteering to help other people with their show. And sometimes it would be cool stuff. Like I would log in entries for one show, and people are sending package design from all over the world and really cool stuff. And I just take pictures of it. It's like I wouldn't have done that if I didn't just say, hey, do you need help? And then in turn, other people want to help you and support you. So I would say you're not going to know what you're doing at first. And there's not always a leader to follow, but it is all figure outable because everyone's in the same boat. Everyone who's new is feeling that way too, not just you.
Yeah, and I think there's something interesting there, which is that what I see a lot kind of in our program as well, is that there's a there's a dissonance a little bit between potential value that somebody has and their actual value in that moment. How much what I like to call is like personal equity that they've built up, and that personal equity can be education, it can be connections, it can be job experiences, it can be variety of experiences, it can be tenure in something, all
Mhm.
those things become personal equity that become allow you to go for more specific, more higher paying jobs, things that are more interesting to you. Um, and you may know the potential of your value, early on and say like, I understand what I potentially have, but you have to pay into it in order for that to actually become a reality, right? And so in the very
Absolutely.
beginning, I think that in the very beginning of your career, you know, I know a lot of students who want to define and say, no, I only want to do these types of things because this is the area that I know that I want to do, or I only want to work, for this type of agency. But it's not there yet, right? You have to take kind of all those opportunities, volunteer on some things, help people out, try out different things, and eventually that actually pays into that value that other people will see. And then they will start to be like, okay, cool. Now I want you on here and I want you on this and that. And
Yep.
that beginning part of your career it's hard, because you're trying to get
Yeah,
a
it's
leg
just
up and yeah.
a series of raising your hand
Yeah. I
in
like
different ways. But you reminded me of this book. I think you all should get it, by the way. And I'm sure it's on like Audible, Spotify, but it's called The Defining Decade, how your 20s, like decisions you make in your 20s, kind of have a domino effect throughout your life. Um, and when I read that
Bianca.
was,
Look at Bianca's screen.
wow, look, Bianca, okay, you're on it. You're on it. Okay, you
She was
win.
like, wait, I gotta get it.
Yes, I love that. And what stood out, oh my, incredible, was she talked about choosing capital over, like finding capital in yourself and the role over money. We like live in this capitalistic society, right? So everything is money motivated, and you might just take jobs because of money, disconnecting the two because the capital might actually be in the title. The title might be better than money. The capital might be in the experience, the travel. Like, for example, at Momentum, a junior art director or junior copywriter, or I'm not, you guys can tell me what roles you're interested in. You might be like, oh, the Momentum role is $5,000 less than some other traditional agency. But Momentum, you're gonna go to like 6 different events a year that
Hmm.
you're never gonna be able to buy a ticket to. You're gonna be able to live at a hotel for 2 or 3 weeks at a time. You're
Hmm.
not gonna be able to do that. And if you have the lifestyle for that, it's like awesome. You're still not gonna want to pay for that.
Yeah,
But you
yeah,
might,
you feel rich, right? Like,
yeah.
yeah,
You ever expensed breakfast, lunch, and dinner? You can do that.
yeah.
So think about what kind of experience you want to have
Hmm.
over what's the dollar amount anyone is presenting you with.
Mm. And yeah, and I think in something that I like to say a lot too, is that growth is always exponential. So at the beginning stages of growth, it feels so slow. And if you think it's linear, it's like, get me off this train right now. This feels like I'm not going anywhere. But if you realize it's exponential and it's building, you don't want to keep hopping careers or something. I mean, you can, and that's one way to build it. I'm not saying that that's wrong necessarily, but um, you don't want to shortchange yourself because that growth that's going to build is going to happen at some point and it will happen very quickly. With all those things that
Yes.
you've done, suddenly you're going to be getting senior, jobs and great pay and, it will happen. So, with keeping consistent on it. So, um, everything is exponential, not linear. So just keep that in mind, when you're thinking about, your career. I
Yeah.
think,
Yeah.
Nary,
It
just
was
just in
just
terms of
a
time. Oh, sorry, go ahead. Yeah.
Oh, I was just gonna put a note on that. I
Yeah.
could have never guessed what the next step was at any point in my career journey. So I don't want you guys to think that I had a grand plan and I knew I was gonna do this and this and this. It was truly one step at a time, and I just followed like the opportunities.
Yeah. That's great. That's fantastic. And I think that's good to know because sometimes we do look at like people who are really successful, in our culture. And this is something that we do in our culture, you know, um, the way that we idolize, billionaires in our culture, big eye roll. I think that, we assume that they're just like so sharp for like having, you know, done something and they planned it all their life and like that's just who they are. And if you're not that, you're not it, it's so not true. Just like
Yes.
they also just all landed there by accident, it just happens to be
Right.
somebody who landed at that position as opposed to somewhere else is yeah. So, I do want to take a little quick few minutes to talk about ABI, but I think beforehand you wanted to show everybody kind of like what are some of the awards, right, that like get submitted to you,
Yes.
and just some examples. So we can do that, and then we'll pop over to have a quick chat about ABI before we go to everybody's questions.
Okay.
Yeah.
I just want to show you guys some work because this industry is fun. You're always going to have a lot of fun. There are so many like opportunities for hold on, I lost my window. There we go.
Don't forget to click the sound thingy.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay. With Super Bowl coming up, and I know you guys are very aware, but so Cannes Lion is the Oscars of our industry. There's a huge festival in France every summer called Cannes Lion International Festival of Creativity. I also want you guys to like keep a lookout for student opportunities with them. Like ABI would be a great first step when you have your eyes on the prize of some of like those bigger like scholarship travel programs because you need to have a portfolio like some of you guys are working on. You need to have projects, have internship experience. So take a look at them, but the awards are incredible. So the Tracking Bad Bunny has won a Grand Prix, which there's no better award, a Gold Lion, a Bronze Lion, and 9 shortlists. The probability of winning this show is harder than getting into Harvard. Only 10% of submissions make it to shortlists, and only like 2.8% of those shortlists become wins. So this is renowned work, but it's incredibly fun. So we're going to take a look at it, and you can tell me if you saw it in the wild as well.
Bad Bunny frenzy is alive. The Puerto Rican powerhouse is taking the world by storm.
There's a floating island of garbage in the middle of the ocean right now. Yeah. I think it's called Puerto Rico.
Debí tirar más fotos de cuando te tuve. Debí darte más besos y abrazos las veces que pude. Ey, ojalá que los míos nunca se muden. Y si hoy me emborracho, pues que me ayuden. Debí tirar más fotos de cuando te tuve. Debí darte más besos y abrazos.
Bad Bunny está zumbado de la cabeza.
These coordinates have to mean something.
Benito, ¿qué son estos coordinates?
Muy verwurzelt mit Puerto Rico.
Puerto Rico. Como Bad Bunny va a ser rey del pop, ey, con reggaeton y dembow, ey, con reggaeton y dembow, sí.
I need you guys to help me out here.
Que para mí suena muy como una canción de Bad Bunny. Voy a llevarte pa' PR.
Voy a llevarte pa' PR, mami, pa' que veas cómo es que se perrea. Tráete a tu amiga si te gusta la idea. Dile que esta noche vamos a janguear. Tras pa' atrás, tan chulería.
Benito is a genius.
Let the Puerto Ricans have their moment, because it's so beautiful.
De PR para el mundo. Gracias por el amor.
Wasn't that cool?
So cool. So cool. I got like little chills down my spine.
Yes.
Yeah. I love it. That's amazing. So smart.
There are teams at Google and at Spotify who get to work on this all the time. There's also know that there's always creative opportunities at brands. Like you are not only limited to agency life, there are like so many different structures that you can, have this kind of career in. So
Awesome.
yeah, right. And here at the bottom is like all of the results. So this is like the most important part that the agency gets paid for, recognized for, has client retention, and get to the win. It's always focused on, did you accomplish your goal?
Yeah. The results, basically, right? Yeah. Amazing. Incredible. Well, thank you for sharing that. It's so cool. And it's great to get like a little bit of an insight into your world and also some of the types of awards that come through. And this is really cool. Yeah, I love that. Great. Well, I'm sure you'll have a lot of questions about, the awards, about NiRey's work, about your career. Please put them in the chat while I go through a little bit about Outbound Initiative. I know some of you have already heard me talk about Outbound Initiative. Emily, I know you've heard it. Alyssa, I know you've heard it. So, feel free to take a little water break or something if you want. And then, I'm going to go through just a little bit about who we are. Just give me 1 second here. I'll share a screen. So Outbound Initiative, we are a global career accelerator for creatives. That means that we are supporting students and recent graduates to help you get your foot in the door within the creative industries, within marketing, advertising, PR, production, you name it. There's a lot of different ones that we have on the list. But our goal focuses around internship placement and then all the support that needs to happen to make sure that you're going to be successful in that and afterwards as well. We have destinations around the world. In the US, we've got plenty of destinations. So New York, Chicago, LA, Miami, and Austin. And then internationally abroad, we have from the US at least, we have London and Berlin, and then Melbourne and Sydney. And we also have a virtual program. So if you want to do something, but you don't, want to move cities, that's totally fine. You can do a virtual program as well. In terms of internship types, I went through, kind of some of them here within marketing and advertising that are related, or within entertainment and media or design. I think the most important thing here is that when you come through the program, we'll be working with you to pick a couple of types of internships that are your top choices and a couple that are your backups. And we'll do the same thing with your destination. So what's the place that you most want to be? Maybe it's Miami, and what's your backup? Maybe you want to do something virtually or in New York. Then our team will work on finding you an internship that meets your top criteria first. So let's say you said, okay, I want to do something in marketing and advertising in Miami, and I'm also open to communications and PR, and I'm also open to New York. So we'll look at marketing and advertising in Miami first. We'll look to find you something there before we move to any of your backups. And we have an 85 to 90% success rate of getting our participants their top choices within their types and also their destination. And we have a near 100% success rate in getting everybody placed into internships. So thanks to the way that the program is set up and to the amazing students that come through as well. There's a few program inclusions that you get. We are a program that you pay for. We're like a course outside of your university. So it's really important for you to know, if I'm paying for this, what am I getting out of it? The same way that you would, for university. You're paying for university, milk it for everything that it's worth, get out every little ounce that you can of their resources, of their alumni network. That's always what we recommend. A few main things that you get. Number one is access to our AVI Academy. This is a coaching and mentorship program that happens before the internship itself. And our goal is to help you make sure that your resume is really strong, your portfolio is really strong if you have one, you've got really strong interview skills, and then you also understand the industry well. It's a combination of live sessions that you do with other peers and then also content for you to watch and go through to make sure that you're well prepared. This is what allows us to guarantee the internship because we're going to be working with you on making sure that your profile is hireable by those companies. Some of the experts that we have that work for us, Justin and Jen, Warner Bros. And MTV Paramount, that's on the entertainment side. Kevin is with Omnicom Group as a creative director. Michael with Ralph Lauren. Jazz is director of global social media marketing at Shutterstock. And Vanessa is a senior recruiter at Equent. So we have many more coaches. And, I think that this is just a great opportunity to learn from people in the field. We do also provide a guaranteed internship placement, which I mentioned. So, company partners range. We don't know who will hire you when you come into the program. And that's because we don't control the hiring at those companies, so we don't have any control. We also don't have any financial relationship with the companies that we work at. So we're not saying like, oh, here, take this person. No, the way that it works is that we are making sure that your profile stands out on its own. And then we're working with these companies to share your profile, get your resume to the top of the stack, and get feedback on interviews so that we can, continue to help provide that feedback to you until you receive an offer. Internships could be from 3 to 6 months in duration, part-time or full-time. They can be for credit or experience. We don't know if you'll have a paid internship or an unpaid internship, so you always need to budget for an unpaid internship. And that's also because we don't know who will be hiring you at the time of the internship. But this is a challenge that you would face whether you come through our program or not. We obviously have a very high preference for paid internships when they're available, and we'll encourage you to take those offers. A few of the company partners that we work with, just for examples, some creative agencies in New York and LA, publications in Chicago, marketing agencies in London or Berlin, and same for Melbourne and Sydney. So a lot of different agencies, brands that we're working with that you could potentially do an internship with. If you're going internationally, we handle travel support for you. So our team will support you with visa processing, insurance arrangements, housing arrangements, which are all, the housing arrangements are optional. Visa and insurance are not if you're going internationally. In-city orientation once you arrive at scene, and then pre-trip information package and guide to the local creative scenes as well. And then our team is very dedicated in terms of support to all of our participants coming through. You'll be assigned a program coordinator who will be working with you from start to finish, making sure that you are onboarded well into the program, you've got your interview prep, your portfolio and resume are ready to go, and we're providing that feedback to you. Then when it comes time to placement, we're working with you on placement with partner companies, giving you backgrounds on those companies and helping you prepare. Also, starting your visa application and other components to make sure that you're successful. And then once you land in city, you'll get an in-city orientation. We also have events that are, accessible lifetime, and then they're there for an emergency contact as well for the in-city coordinators. And then last but not least, you have access to our community. As NiRey was saying, like your peers will become leaders, and you also have people who are already leaders who were alumni of the program or who are alumni of the program who were in the program. So you have access to our app, which provides a way for you to connect with all of our alumni. We also share, events and job boards and other types of things, so that you can continue to think about your career, within the program and afterwards as well. And then some of our alumni have gone on to work for amazing places. So it's just important to note, like, oh, these are the people that I could tap into, right? Like they also went through the same place I did and ended up here. Let me connect with them and see, if I could get some advice or meet with them or have a virtual coffee or whatever, lots of different ways to build your network. We do have a tuition. As I said, we're a fee-based program. So if you're doing something locally within the United States or domestically within, if you're in the UK and you're doing it in the UK or Australia, our program fee is $22.50, and that's the same if you're doing it virtually. If you're going international, it's $32.50. That includes all the components I mentioned. It does not include visa, housing, flights, incidentals, other things like that. It includes our program fee. So something to note. Budgeting to make sure that you can undertake an experience if you're going internationally, because there are other expenses that you need to consider as well. For those that are coming from a financial needs-based background, we have grants from between $500 up to the full program fee. And this is for our local and virtual program, and you can apply for that, on our website when you apply as well. And then how to apply, there's a few steps. You just need to fill out an application. We have our very final deadline for summer internships coming up on February 10th. So if you want to do something this summer, if you're thinking about doing something this summer, if you're not sure, just apply. The reason is that we need enough time to have you go through the academy, secure an internship, prepare you for placement within that internship, and then make sure that you're going to be successful in it. So February 10th is the last deadline. There is no fee to apply. And what I'll do is just show you really quick that application page. If you go to our homepage, you'll see an apply button up here. If you want to chat with our team, you can just fill in this here, and then it will end up leading you to an email from us where we'll get you on a call. But you can go to apply and then fill in your application. And nothing here is set in stone. Okay. So if you're thinking like, I don't know exactly what destination I want to go into, I'm not sure exactly what type of internship I want, don't worry about it. We're going to talk about it during the admissions process, and we can always make adjustments to your strategy. And then if you're applying for the grant, you fill in the documents there. Okay. So that's the application. Whoa, that's the application page. And hope to see some applications. It should take you about 20 minutes to apply if you have all the materials together. So I'm going to stop sharing screen. I am going to go back to just share you here our homepage, so that if you're interested in learning a little bit more, you can. And then we are going to, yes, ABI is available to graduate students, Bronte, so totally fine. It's designed for students who are, current students, graduated within master's program, post-master's program, early stage of your career, basically. Great. So that's everything from me. I'm going to go through, yeah, you're welcome. I'm going to go through the questions that we have here. So Bianca first asked, any events like these Christmas parties that are coming up that you know of, NiRey, that they can gain access to?
Okay. I would say definitely sign up for publications and newsletters. I always encourage that. So you guys should sign up for Ad Week, Ad Age, whatever your niche is. I know someone in here is in film. You should be getting Backstage newsletter. Like whatever is the publication for your area, there are always going to be events. there are always going to be things to do. The organizations too always have something. So if we're in New York, One Club for Creativity always has gallery events. Like I think every month there is something. There's also portfolio reviews, things like that. But just follow industry press and it will guide you in the right direction.
Perfect. Thank you for that.
Yeah.
Let's see. I'm a grad student that had a professor recommend I become a member of Bronte, excuse me, asked this, member of PRSA. I know my school also has PRSSA, which you said was very helpful throughout your undergraduate experience. Would you recommend joining both organizations?
You only need to join one. If you're still in school, join PRSSA because I think the dues are like $50, $45 when I worked there. And that's for a whole year. And then some schools, they pay for it for you, the dues. So just inquire about that. PRSA is the professional organization, so they're going to have professional dues. So I'm not sure what the price is now, but you also get access to conferences and events and things through them. But being a SSA student first might be a better pipeline. Like there might be a different way to get a PRSA membership than just signing up for it.
That's helpful, and I think that joining these types of organizations is so important. Not only do you get access to people, in a meaningful way. But you're also doing something really early on, which is like signaling your intent or signaling your desire for something, right? So remember how I said like in the beginning of your career, you don't have a lot of personal equity. You're kind of competing with a lot of people who have similar credentials to you. And you might know your interests and desires and things, but that's really hard to communicate on a resume. Or it's really hard to communicate in a moment. People are going to look for like, what are the other signals that you're showing me that you are what you say you are, that you are really interested in this industry. And simply being a member of something like this, being involved in something is a great signal to showcase that. So that's really helpful. I definitely recommend that exactly. Yeah. Um, Alyssa asked any creative opportunities for recent graduates from Cannes and tips
Oh,
for a successful campaign.
yes. I'm not sure the due dates and deadlines and things like that, so you need to check it out. But it's called Robert Herschel Academy. They also have should be a few different ones on that page, and it is just scholarships for that week of, I believe the festival is like June 15th through the 21st, something like that. But it's always in June, and you would need to fill out an application. Sometimes they'll ask for like a 2-minute video, something like that. So whatever you do for your ABI application is probably getting you 50% of the way there of what they'll want from you. But yes, there are opportunities. And there's also Young Lions for people under 30, and then it's extremely discounted rate.
You
Oh,
said it
tips
was
for
the
successful
Roger Hetchwell.
Herschel, HU. Look up Can Lions, Roger Herschel. I don't know.
Roger, I think it says Hetchwell.
Okay. It's like
Or-
a not common name to know how to spell.
No,
But you
no,
could
it's
find
definitely not. That's why I was making sure I got it right. The Roger Hetchwell Student Academy, is that what you're talking about?
yes.
Okay, cool. I'll put that in a link here.
Yes. And Young Lions.
Cool. And Young Lions, amazing.
Okay, and the second part of the question, tips for a successful campaign. I would say always have results, even if they're made up. So let's say you're doing a fake campaign for a skincare brand, right? In your one pager or what you put on the page of the campaign, you need to insinuate results. 1 million impressions, right? Impressions, no one can like ask you how you got that. That's why agencies use it. 40% click through to get the discount, 75% increase. You always want to put a piece of data with whatever your result is.
Great.
Best tip.
Perfect. Emily asked, what is a good way to simply focus on yourself when growing creatively rather than comparing yourself to other people's portfolios or in your career? What can help you stand out from others?
This is a great question because it's a life question. You have to zoom out. Like you have to look at things from a bird's eye view. You have no idea what that person's journey is. You have no idea where they're going, the context of where they got where they are. Also, some people hire people. Some people have teams. Like this is like you comparing yourself to Beyonce, and she has 24 people to help her with things in a day. Um, you're gonna get caught up if you keep comparing. But I completely understand, like, I'm in a creative industry and I don't have a creative portfolio. So it was always really hard. And the work I win awards for is not work I created. So I don't necessarily take credit for the work, only for the win. So frame how your special sauce and how you're different. The person you're comparing yourself to might be an illustrator, but you are a digital artist in some way. Um, did that answer your question?
Great.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Okay.
Um, Mia asked, what is a typical overview of internships in the TV production internship? What experience do interns get out of that opportunity? I'll help to answer that question.
Oh, API.
Within
Yeah.
within production, we work with a lot of different production houses, within TV and film and content production. What an intern would do really varies based on the company. It could be a combination of onset experience where you're supporting kind of in a runner type of role. A runner role on production would mean like really helping with all the things around. It can include tasks that are just helping to support the production team, like helping to, grab a coffee or a lunch or things like that. It can also mean unloading and loading equipment. It can mean like helping to, pass out schedules to everybody, or emailing for follow-up. A lot of production roles are administrative, so they are a lot of production is mostly all the prep to production. It's not actual onset. So, the prep to production is the biggest part. And even if you're an onset producer, you'll be doing a lot of prep. So, um, you know, just all the administrative work that needs to happen to make it come together. And then, depending on the company, you may be working on a variety of different projects that are happening. So, or with a variety of different, teams or size of teams. So I hope that answered your question. Yeah. Bronte, I answered your question already. Jojo asks, hello, for students with financial need, what is the process for determining how much a student needs? That's a great question. I'm leaving the link here for you. Actually, everything is in the instructions. We have very clear instructions on the grants and scholarship page. There's downloadable documents that explain, based on where you're from, exactly the documents that you need. And the amount that's determined is based on your need, based on the criteria that we've illustrated within those documents, plus what we have available. So, we have a waiting list right now for our grants, but we have been lucky enough to be able to provide a grant for every single person who has applied and been eligible. The only thing is that grant amount may vary depending on what we have available at that time. So, as I said, the amount varies between 500 to 2250, and we space that out across the year. So, this year we're doing about $30,000 in grants total. So definitely apply for it if you're applying for the program and you're coming from, you're meeting the criteria. If you have any further questions, you can also let our team know, and we'll help you out with that. NiRey, Olia asked, what's something you wish someone had told you when you were just starting out?
That's a really good question. I think for time to take its course a little more, like just be easier with yourself about like when you're going to get to your accomplishments, when you're going to get this job, when you're going to go for this thing, because you just never know the circumstances. So when it's right for you, it will be right for you. When the job opens, it will. When it's time to apply for something, go for it, try. If you don't get it, I've even had jobs that I've applied for, interviewed for, gone through the whole process, didn't get, and have called me a year later.
Yeah.
Like i- you can't you can't guess how it's gonna go.
Yeah. Yeah, that's great. And I hear in that something which I'd want to clarify because it's not inaction, it's not
Right,
passively waiting. It's
right.
it's it's actively waiting, right? Like it's like meeting people, seeking opportunities, seeing what's out there, like being
Hmm.
open to different types of things. Um, and then allowing them to come when it's ready, but not being frustrated if something isn't quite lining up at that time or if you're not quite ready for it. Just learning from those experiences because let's say you go interview for 10 jobs and you fail to get all 10. Well, now you just got 10 interview practices, right? So that the next job you get, you're going to nail it, right? You'll have learned what to do, what not to do, et cetera. And maybe one of those companies will call you back. It's not always a personal reason that they say no. Yeah.
Yeah. It's
Jojo asked
almost never.
what did you say?
I said it's almost never a personal reason. It's
Yeah.
like the bells and whistles and dotted lines.
Yeah, there might be somebody who is just a better fit for the role
Mhm.
slightly. I've interviewed people and then turn around and realize like, wait a minute, our suddenly the corporate structure changed and we don't need this role anymore.
Hmm.
There's a lot of reasons that something can happen. Uh, Jojo asked, what piece of advice or learning experience has stuck with you that you'd love to share?
Ooh, I think for you all, it will be to actually apply, actually go for it. We get really caught up in this almost phase.
Mm,
And, like this is a step to applying for ABI, and ABI is going to open another door for something else, for something else, for something else. But if you don't apply, if you get scared at this point, why? Just go for it.
I love that. Yeah, I love that. And I love that, because I think from a perspective of once you've been 15 years, 10 years in your career, you can see all those stepping stones that led there. But when you're in your stage where you're, in school or graduating, all that is so fuzzy. And it's like there's so many options of directions that it can be a little bit paralyzing at times in terms of what to take. Don't be afraid to take opportunities. You're never stuck in a career track. You can always shift and change. And actually, the further you go in, your opportunities open, they don't narrow. I think there's
Yeah,
a
yeah.
feeling that it narrows like, oh my God, now suddenly I'm an advertiser. Actually, now you just have way more transferable experience that can be applied to other careers, right? So you have the opportunity available to you at any time. Yeah.
At any time, and be open for it to be a different idea. But I think you were saying this earlier, like not getting stuck in whatever your major is, or
Yeah.
like whatever you decided at one day at 21 to do. Like, be open. If I was stuck in, like, when I graduated, I wanted to like do PR for like a brand, right?
Mm,
If I had stuck to that, I'd have just like a regular PR job at a regular brand. But if
mm,
I was open, like I was to, okay, now we're making a left turn and a right and a U-turn and whatever, I wound up where I am. So it's like,
mm.
don't get so boxed in.
Yeah, yeah. I say that not because I'm saying that from a perspective of I've never experienced that. I say that because I experienced that exactly. Like I studied photography and then I went into hospitality and then I switched to like business administration and then I switched to like, this. I mean, but all the way through there are always transferable skills and my career feels like it's still growing. It's just taking on different, it's just taking
Mhm.
on different industries. So, and that's totally fine. Like I feel like I have a view of different things. Some people like to stick with one industry or one job, and that's also okay. Like there's a lot of different ways to go for it. And then Alyssa, you asked like even if there are over 100 applicants and you don't have the necessary skills, yes, because if you're one of 100, you have a 1% chance. If you're zero of 100, you have a 0% chance. Like, even if you feel
Exactly.
like you only have a 1% chance, that's way higher than a 0% chance. But remember that networking is the most important thing because when you're networking, you might be one out of 10. You might be one out of
Mhm.
five. you might be seeing job opportunities that aren't even posted online. So, applying for things online is hard, both for the recruiter and for the applicant, because y'all don't know each other and they're filtering through a lot of people. So, getting to know somebody, getting recommended into a role, it's always the best way, That's why building your network now so that it can bear fruit later is really, really important. NiRey, I will just put a couple of things in the chat here and then we'll close it off. So, once again, I'm just going to put our link for the program, which I'll put here so y'all can grab that. I'm also going to put my LinkedIn. Y'all can please connect with me,
Oh, yeah.
message me. I'll drop yours in here, NiRey, don't worry.
Okay, perfect.
Have it loaded up. So yeah, you can connect with me, message me. I answer all the questions that come to my LinkedIn. Not that many people actually message me, so feel free to message me with like questions that you have. If anything, whether it's about the program or your career. You can also connect with NiRey, of course, on LinkedIn. Start to build your network, start to build your
Yeah.
network. That's what this is for. You showed up, you're already taking the step that a lot of students aren't. So pat yourself on the back and like, get that connection and continue to be in touch. That's really important. Yeah. Larry, any final words from you or anything you
No,
want to
I
leave us
just
with?
want to, yeah, I just want to encourage you all to try and keep trying. Like, even when you feel like you're 1 out of 100, you never know. Like, you could have the same name as the recruiter's daughter, and they're like, I have to interview Alyssa. You know. So just go for it, try your hardest, and know that everyone's had a similar experience. So talk to people, talk to your peers, talk to your professors, professionals you meet, and ask them what their experience was. And it will bring
Fantastic.
you down to earth a little bit.
I love it. I love it. Well, thank you. And thank you, Melissa, for the shout out. I'm really appreciate that you got the chance to join us as well. Naire, thanks so much for your time. I really appreciate it. And thank you to all of you for being engaged and having some good questions. And reach out to us on LinkedIn. Say hello, don't be shy, and hope to see you all in the program as well.
Yeah. Oh, I love the hearts, Emily. Those are
Thank you. Have a good night.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
More hearts. I have to figure out how to do that.
Bye.
Thank you all. Have a good night.
Thanks,
Good night.
Melissa. Good to see you. How are you
You
doing?
too, then. Doing great.
Yeah, fantastic. Well, thanks for joining us. I really appreciate it.
You're welcome. You're welcome. Have a good
Awesome.
one.
Yeah, bye.